Okay, we'll kick things off here. So thank you very much for joining us. My name is Jeff Stevens. I'm the CEO, co-founder of Psyched Wellness. And joining me is Matthew Singh, my Chief Commercial Officer. We welcome the opportunity to introduce you to Psyched Wellness, what we think is a very exciting opportunity in bridging the wellness space and the psychedelic space, which we'll get into a little greater. So just some background on the company. We are a Canadian-based health and wellness company. We trade on the CSC under the ticker PSYC and on the OTCQB PSYCF. We currently sit with approximately a $15 million market cap with $4.5 million unaudited in the bank, and we are embarking on commercialization of the first ever consumer packaged good product derived from a legal psychedelic mushroom. And we'll get into that in a little greater detail. We've spent the last 2 years doing R&D, so research and development on Amanita muscaria, which is that red and white mushroom cap that you see on our display. We've done preclinical studies, toxicology, safety studies, 14-day, 90-day toxicity studies. So we've done all the work to get us to a point where we're now in a position to legally sell this product as a food supplement. And the reason we're able to do that is this mushroom was never scheduled as a drug. So when you're looking at some of our peers in the psychedelic sector, they're working with compounds that were scheduled as drugs. And when they get to their endpoints, they're going to sell their product through a prescription form, whether with a doctor or a therapist, where we have the ability to sell it across the board throughout retail. And that's something very unique in the sector. And I think it gives us an advantage where it de-risks the play for our investors. As we build out our structure, we're able to build a brand, generate revenue, and then look further beyond and look at additional applications for AME-1, which is our proprietary extract. The regulatory environment, as I touched on, has never been scheduled as a drug. The US is our first market. We received our self-GRAS, and then we'll be opening up and looking at a global expansion when the company grows into that availability. So I'm going to pass it over to Matt, who will take you through our plan to commercialize this product.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jeff. So a little background on myself. I spent the last 20 years working directly for Coca-Cola, Red Bull, and Vital Pharmaceuticals. So when we took their principles and practices, predominantly applied it to our plan, product development in particular, we knew that this product had to solve a problem. More importantly, it had to address a need. When we took a step back, we realized folks in general, especially in North America right now, are subject to a lot of stress and anxiety. They're overextended, they're plain exhausted. We're in the midst of global pandemics that never seem to end. There's economic and global conflict that is plaguing our society, so to speak. Finding a good night's rest and recovery is hard to come by. So Psyched Wellness, our team, we're very excited to introduce a little bit of calm. And pardon the pun, calm is the name of our first product we're going to bring to market, a product amidst a larger portfolio. It's positioned as a sleep aid, obviously derived from the Amanita muscaria mushroom, the first legal psychedelic mushroom product to be launched in America. It's going to have a soothing and calming effect when you take it. We recommend 30 minutes before periods of rest and recovery. You have an incredible restorative sleep and you rise a better individual. So this is the start. One of the beautiful things about this product and all products we're going to bring to market is with our regulatory situated portfolio, we have an uncapped retail universe. What this means is, unlike psilocybin or cannabis, our AME-1 products can be sold at any sort of retailer you can imagine, whether that's our own DCOM, third-party e-commerce, or traditional and untraditional retailers. Effectively, the phase one of our distribution plan and outlet scale is over 200,000 outlets deep, right? Our targets are obviously phased year over year, but for myself on the commercial team, it makes me salivate to think about revenue projections because horizontal growth is one of the easiest ways to attain cyclical revenue. Our segmentation, picture this product at places like grocery stores, drug stores, e-commerce like I mentioned, health and wellness and specialty locations. Our planned scale initially will be focused on the health and wellness specialty shops, and we're getting a ton of interest from the cannabis retailers as well. We'll use that to solidify the brand, bring Calm to market, and then move into the rest of our portfolio. Speaking to that, in terms of what's next, what we have in development and coming down the pipeline, first, as I said, we'll establish our routes to market, the retailer landscape, and educate on the Amanita muscaria mushroom, even though it is the most recognizable mushroom, psychedelic mushroom in the world. Everyone knows it from Alice in Wonderland. Everyone knows it from the emoji on your phone, as Jeff was saying, but we still have a long ways to go to introduce the product line. So, in the works, we have applications, slow release capsules coming before the end of the year or early Q1 2023, teas, tinctures, and topical creams. Calm itself will be on the market before the end of summer 2022. How many psychedelic mushroom companies can say that? How many companies are going to be generating revenue before the end of this year? Arguably, just us, right? So in terms of the segmentation we're looking at, we've got applications in beverage, pain management, anti-inflammation, and the beauty and cosmetics industries. As everyone is now familiar, psychedelic mushrooms have a wide variety of applications. This, of course, begs the question, Matthew, you're a startup company, how are you going to sell in beauty and cosmetics and within the health and wellness verticals, two very different industries? Luckily, that's built into our commercial plan. With AME-1, our extract, we have a wholesale commercial application for white label and private label opportunities. What this means, partner organizations who want to add a psychedelic mushroom component to their existing product line can buy our extract and apply it to their already existing product portfolio or develop net new products. That not only helps their revenue, their marketing buzz, obviously pads our bottom line, and accomplishes like exponential gains when it comes to educating on Amanita muscaria and what its potential is. So we can go into more details about the specific marketing plans, sales plans and structures, distributor plans. In reality, before the end of the summertime, those releases will be coming out, the specific partners we've identified and will be working with. But also, given the nature of the conference and how you can reach us, feel free to come up, feel free to ask more questions. We're going to stick to the timeline for today's presentation, but we're excited to talk about it. So I'll pass back to Jeff to kind of take us through a little bit more of the recap.
Thanks, Matt. Yeah, so just to sort of the notes that we'd like you to leave thinking about, we believe we're in the very early stages of this sort of psychedelic renaissance. We're unique in the sense that, we have a legal psychedelic mushroom that we have the approval as a food supplement to start selling our products. So when the sector itself, when the rising tide lifts all boats, so our peers who are working on their clinical trials and they're doing that good work, when they have beneficial results, it helps us as well. But what we do as well, we help educate people on the benefits from a health and wellness side of the sector. So it's kind of how we fit into that world. But what's really unique, again, is the fact that we'll be generating revenue. We have a goal, and with the capital on hand, to be positioned to get to a cash flow positive situation with what we have in our bank. So we're not reliant on the markets. We're in a position where we can create that shareholder value with what we have in our bank at this time. We talked a lot about the first mover advantage in the markets, but we didn't really talk about our team. So I'll quickly take you through sort of where we sit with that, because what's really important is obviously having people like Matt joining me. I'm the capital markets guy. I raised the money, I structured the deal, but Matt's got 20 years CPG experience. On our board, we've got Professor David Nutt, who is arguably one of the top 3 psychedelic thought leaders in this modern renaissance. He's up there with Rick Doblin and Robin Carher-Harris. He's leading some of our clinical trials. He's leading our sleep study that we've announced, and he's really excited to be part of this team because he believes that Amanita muscaria, specifically AME-1, our extract, has that healing potential beyond just a health and wellness play. So that's the future for this company as well. Next steps, completing the studies that we've completed has positioned us for this opportunity to start commercializing the product. And as I mentioned, Professor Nutt being a key part as we look at the future development opportunities beyond health and wellness. Quickly, we talked about the team. I'll skip through that because I know we're going to be getting close on time. Cap structure, we're pretty clean. We're sitting with 130 million shares outstanding, fully diluted 170. We have no debt on the books. And as I mentioned, currently trading around 13 to $15 million market cap Canadian with 4.5 million in the bank. We're excited to introduce this opportunity because we think it has a unique fit if you have appetite for this in your portfolios or your clients do. We'd welcome the opportunity to talk to you further on it. And please feel free to reach out and contact us. If you have any questions, yeah, thank you. Yeah, great question. This mushroom is really special. It's got 5,000 years of history. It's been used through various indigenous groups. Siberian shamans have used it ceremoniously. And we work with foragers, so local foragers in various geographic locations, and we source those from them. So what's really nice is, this is a completely natural process. There's no chemicals in our extraction, and we're working with those communities and providing them a way to turn a hobby into, monetizing that hobby. So it feels really great to be able to do that. As we proceed and progress, and we look at other applications beyond health and wellness, then we will look at bringing that into a lab environment. To date, no one has been successful in doing that, but there hasn't really been a commercial reason to do so. We're the first company that has actually brought Amanita muscaria to the market in this fashion. So we believe that with time and money, you can solve that problem. It grows symbiotically with the pine trees and the birch trees, so it's a bit of a process, but again, if you were to try and transplant an Amanita mushroom and take it to a pine tree on your property, for example, that process takes about 8 years before you're going to get a fruiting mushroom. So it is quite complex, but again, we're confident that there's a way to solve that puzzle.
And the beautiful thing is we don't have a need to transplant because this is a widely available mushroom in multiple continents. As Jeff said, our foraging teams are dispersed through Eastern Europe, Italy, and now North America. Raw materials is something we'll always monitor, and then that's a fantastic question, thank you. But we're confident that with the scale we want to achieve, we should have more than enough. So, any other questions? Please. Yep. Yeah.
Does it target the serotonin receptors, and what's the mechanism of action of the compound that's compared to psilocybin?
Excellent. Go ahead.
I'll take that one, sure. So it's unique. It's not similar to psilocybin in that respect. It works on your GABA A receptor. So the compound that we extract from this mushroom is a compound called muscimol, and that works on your GABA A receptors. It's a GABA A agonist. And we know scientifically that works for pain, it works for sleep, it works for addiction. Anecdotally, there's a large community of people who will forage these and make teas and tinctures to help them alleviate pain from sciatic, using it to get off addiction to benzo. We've had an incredible amount of inbound inquiries from people because what they're doing now is they're purchasing them online or they're foraging them, and then they're making their own teas or tinctures. And they don't know, there's no consistency through the batch. And they have to start small with each one because they're not sure what the effects are going to be. So there's a lot of interest because this is the first time that they know that they can buy this product, get the benefits of it in a standardized form with each dose is going to have the same effect each time. So it's quite interesting.
Yeah.
The last question is, why do you have a Frankfurt listing?
We're a public company in Canada, and it just happens to be one of those things you do as a microcap as far as there's a lot of interest in Europe, and it's challenging for them sometimes to purchase stock in Canada. So you do a Frankfurt listing, it doesn't cost you anything, and then you have access to the European investor. And typically they're a stickier investor, so they'll stick with you and they'll give you time to grow.
And then another thing just about the mushroom rather than the Frankfurt exchange, but the Amanita muscaria, we're seeing everything through a Western lens, right? Psilocybin made it here, was widely spread through the recreational fields. Then, effectively we had that gap of 30, 40 years where there was nothing new when it came to psychedelic mushrooms. When we're looking at a lot of these Eastern cultures, like whether it's Celtic or Norse mythology, to commune with Odin, they would parboil this mushroom and speak with their god. So it's one of those things where there's such an opportunity in it, and I think largely our market has slept on it up until this point. So we're excited to take advantage of this lead to market and again bring it to retail in any sort of establishment. It's going to be a fun few months because, like we said, before the end of summer you'll be hearing a lot from our team, right? So please, yeah, keep them coming.
You're not the first to ask that. Timing was unfortunate because we will have our first pilot run in 2 to 3 weeks' time.
Yeah.
So we're excited to have that available. But one thing I would like to leave you with as well is, you can't patent a mushroom, and that's part of the challenge in this sector. But what we've done is we put provisional patents around all the processes. So everything that we've done over these last 2 years has been based on AME-1, which is our proprietary extract. So if anyone were trying to come into this market, they would either have to spend a 2-year process doing the preclinical studies, safety studies, everything that we've done, or they can come to us and negotiate a licensing agreement and work with us in that fashion. So we've been very calculated in how we've moved forward with this to protect their capital of our shareholders. Mm-hmm. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
If maybe I can, because I think maybe you misunderstood what I was saying with it. They grow, these mushrooms are fruiting bodies all throughout the year, and in some climates you have multiple fruiting seasons. So that 8-year time frame was if you were just trying to transplant it, it's not how long it takes for the mushroom to fruit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that is part of the future, yeah.
Yeah, please. So effectively, what I was going to say, there's kind of two parts to that answer. One being the insulation from climate change and possible risks to the existing supply, which is very, very, like if a company's not paying attention to that, then they're making a mistake. So great in that sense. In terms of the mycelium network with Amanita muscaria in particular, you can see the thick stem. It's a very hardy mushroom. So if it's going to affect the existing supply, this mushroom in particular is well situated in that landscape. We should still be able to harvest until it's at a point that if it's suffering, we're probably all suffering a lot worse. But then the second part of your question, which I think is almost more integral, is what are we planning to do? Because with commercial scale that we endeavor to reach, we're going to need a more manageable, predictable supply of raw materials. So like we can't speak out of turn about it per se, but there have been conversations. We are investigating growing in a more controlled environment. But like Jeff did say, hasn't been done successfully yet, but we haven't come along to invest in it. So we're excited to get to that stage. There's phases to everything we're going to do, right? Like startup company, so we're going to bring calm to market. We're going to use that revenue, scale the assortment. We know we're good for raw materials for our foreseeable future, call it how many years over the horizon. We're not going to miss the boat on that. But at the same time, we are going to start development to really extrapolate what we want to do. So, yeah. Yes. Please.
How big of an impact does the ability to really create saturation, right, of this product have on the overall social adoption of what we're seeing with psilocybin?
You know what, that's a very layered question. I love it though, and thank you. So this could be opinion based, so please jump in after if you like. But for myself, because we're not direct competitors with psilocybin in a sense, and from cultural impact, I can only make comment from how we position ourselves as Psyched Wellness and what we hope to achieve. In general, we are a psychedelic mushroom. With the NDI accreditation, we will speak and start to speak very loudly about that. Because our product isn't specifically therapeutic and pharmaceutical in nature rather, but it is included in that kind of sphere of proper mental health requires proper rest. So by putting out a quality product that has an impact that you can take and feel the effect, we hope to further the entire sector, psilocybin included. One of those rising tides raises all ships, sort of, I hate the metaphors and euphemisms, but that is effectively the impact we'd like to make. We think Psyched Wellness succeeding with the Amanita muscaria should improve the entire sector at large.
It's more of a common question.
Yeah.
Coming from medical terms of titration,
Oh, sorry.
smaller doses to understand how it impacts with kind of the way your body functions.
Mhm.
I would say it's going to have a huge impact on just the social adoption in general of this space versus it being this wild west of let me get a piece of room.
Well, we're taking the path of, doing the FDA, new dietary ingredient, where everything we're doing is in effect having a safe product with the guidelines on how to use this and to promote wellness, right? So this is really it's not a recreational play. This isn't something where we're looking for a party drug. We're really taking an approach where we think we've got, thank you, we think we've got a tiger by the tail. We think being the first company with the opportunity to bring this product to market, where you have all this interest in the sector in general. We help educate, we help destigmatize, but at the same time, we're able to generate revenue and benefit from that while that whole sector is going through the process.
Precisely.
Yes?
Yeah, absolutely. As you know what, I'll see if rather than clicking back through the whole slides, I'll speak to it. But in terms of product line, the tinctures will come first, 30 mil, 60 mil. In between those two, we are launching slow release capsules. All those will be branded or situated in the same category and space as sleep aids. But then beyond that, we also have teas coming available. We also have topical creams, right? And those creams can be anything from pain management with topical pain creams to anti-inflammatory, both external and then internal for gut health. So that it's such a wide portfolio, and that again is just the products we launch with an NDI or an NHP in Canada. When we do sort of phase 2 and accelerate that vertical on the pharmaceutical side, we can get a little more concentrated with what we're doing. So.
We're also, to Matt's point, we're doing some studies right now with the National Research Council of Canada, where they're working on the properties of AME-1 and how it interacts with gut health. It's an anti-inflammatory, so we're getting some really positive results back from that. We hope that the National Research Council will do a paper on that, so we'll have a scientific paper that we can market as well. And one of the verticals that Matt touches on, as far as a white label opportunity, is looking at the cosmetics industry. So we've got an anti-inflammatory that's both ingestible and applied topically. So if you think about the competitiveness of that industry, they're always looking for a new natural solution that's going to help with anti-aging, with inflammation. So, you know, we're just scratching the surface of what this mushroom can provide. We're doing the best we can with the capital that we have and the team that we have. And, you know, I think we take a very conservative approach of a crawl, walk, run so that we don't overextend ourselves. And we are positioning ourselves so that our shareholders will benefit from the long run as opposed to a short term and then blowing up. So we're really just trying to be, you know, make sure that we do everything left foot, right foot, everyone takes care of themselves.
Precisely, beautiful.
Well, thank you very much, folks. It's been a pleasure. If you have any further questions, look for us on the hall. We'd love to chat with you.